Welcome to all of you to Rexall Center, the Rogers Cup. This particular event is a thrill not only for you, but for me. Let's welcome the legends of tennis. Jim Courier, Michael Chang, Andre Agassi, John McEnroe. Gentlemen, thank you very much for being here and for doing this. And Andre, first of all, let me congratulate you on your induction into the Rogers Cup Hall of Fame. It's a great honor for you.
That's exciting. It's been a very important part of my career here, so.
And you've won this thing 3 times, so you must have some great memories of being here in Toronto.
Oh, no question about it. I didn't. I'm trying to remember if I had the luxury of playing in this stadium or not, because it's changed over the years. But I think I did one time. But I always had a great time in front of the Toronto fans. I almost forgot how nice you guys are when I showed up at the airport and hotel and here, and it's just been a wonderful experience to be back. So thanks for having me.
John, a 7-time Grand Slam champion, 19 Grand Slam doubles titles, one in mixed doubles as well. You've had an incredible career, obviously a legend of tennis, but I think what most people enjoy about your career recently is your broadcast career. You bring such great knowledge and such entertainment. You know, listening to your commentary on the Grand Slams is such a great thing because you're able to put people right in it, you know, what a player is thinking and why they might have made this or that shot.
You forgot to ask Andre what was better, his induction to the Rogers Cup Hall of Fame or the Hall of Fame last month. Is he? You said he was in the. Did you say he was in the Rogers Cup Hall of Fame,
That's
or
right.
did you say he was in the actual Hall of Fame?
No, I just said Rogers Cup.
So
But he's
obviously,
also in the International Tennis Hall of Fame.
which one do you think is more important?
Well, that question should be directed to Andre.
You know, Andre and I played doubles here too once. We got to the finals of the doubles, so I don't remember who we lost to, fortunately. Do you, Andre?
Donnie Visser was one of them.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's embarrassing, right?
Michael Chang, youngest player ever, male ever to win a Grand Slam, the French Open. One particular aspect of that victory, as I reviewed the literature on it, is here you are playing Yvonne Lindell. You're down 2 sets to love. The 3rd set begins, and you break. But all of a sudden, you dug down and found the mental toughness to win the match. Where did that come from?
You know, it's kind of hard to explain that. You know, to some degree, I think it was obviously a very special tournament for me. It was a very downtime actually for the Chinese people, I think, around the world, especially in Beijing, because the situation in Tiananmen was happening that middle Sunday. So, you know, I almost kind of feel like in many senses, you know, God had a divine plan there. And, you know, certainly have a much clearer, you know, reason why, you know, I'm Chinese and, you know, maybe I'm a little bit smaller than some of the other guys, but, you know, certainly was very, very special.
Great. And Jim, 4 Grand Slams. To your credit, you're still very involved in tennis on the Seniors Tour. But you're also the captain of the Davis Cup team. And now, a lot of people, when they think of tennis, think of the big events, the Grand Slams and the Masters Series. They don't necessarily think Davis Cup. What's the significance of Davis Cup, and how important is that to each country?
Well, Davis Cup is very important to the players that play it. I think it's unfortunate that it's hard for fans to follow because the schedule just doesn't make any sense with Davis Cup. If it were a 2-week event played here where all the nations came together and competed in a logical, sensible fashion, I think the world would really stop, at least the tennis world, and follow it and get involved. But all 4 of us on this stage are lucky enough to have been a part of winning Davis Cup teams. And it's something that you carry with you when you're introduced in a tennis setting. The things that count the most that are mentioned first and foremost are Grand Slam titles and Davis Cup titles and Olympic medals now that the Olympics has come back in. So Davis Cup is important to the players that play, and I think we all wish that it were more important to at least the non-tennis public that doesn't really understand it.
Andre, you not only have a ton of respect as a player, but also as a philanthropist. Your foundation, you've been instrumental in raising $150 million for children's education. Now, why did you get involved in the educational aspect?
I found myself getting involved in education, sort of backed into it. I mean, I was helping a lot of children a lot of ways with my foundation kind of to quickly realize that I was sticking Band-Aids on real issues, that I was always being reactive to these problems instead of being proactive. So the idea was to give the tools. You know, what are the tools that a child needs to really take ownership of their own life? And for me, that was education. I mean, I always felt a profound lack of education in my life, traveling the world, feeling very overmatched by books and cultures, and had tennis to fall back on. And the thought sort of occurred to me on a continual basis, what about these children that don't have tennis to fall back on? What happens to their life if they sort of find themselves failing in school? And unfortunately, it means some pretty desperate things. And so I set about to build a K through 12 public charter school. My idea was to bring a level of resources, a level of accountability, give it to the children that society says won't make it, the ones that they write off. And I wanted to use it as a laboratory, really, a place to say, what can education really look like if we fund it properly and we're accountable with those resources properly. So these children, the school's built in the poorest neighborhood of Las Vegas, and there's about 1,045 kids in my school, and we've had 3 graduating classes, and I'm proud to say that 100% of these children that society would have written off have gone on to make it to college, 100%.
John, you two are involved in educating kids, but you're doing it through tennis in New York. Tell us about the program.
Well, what happened was basically that I grew up in what, other than Toronto, the greatest city in the world. So I had a lot of history myself, obviously, having grown up there myself, lived there now, played the U.S. Open, with ball boyed there, played Davis Cup, etc. So I sort of wanted to bring the buzz back to our sport there, and it's basically trying to get kids that perhaps would be playing other sports or would be doing other things, such as getting themselves in trouble, the opportunity to play at a tennis academy, and also to, as all of us have tried to do, make the game more accessible and affordable, but as well as maybe an outlet for the players that perhaps, I mean, I read Andre's book, and it seemed like if you read what he had to say about Balotelli's, that while there were some people like Jim, for example, that I think enjoyed his stay more than Andre, some kids would prefer, like myself, I don't think I would have made it as big had I been sent away at a young age. So wanting to provide the opportunity, the option. It may work great for some people and not as well for others, and I think if players have some choices, it would be nice. So I'm trying to provide that.
Michael, it's
Thank you for reading my book, John.
Yes.
I really appreciate
I
that.
think mostly everyone here has read your book. It's a huge seller. Michael, why is it important that kids be given back skills and attention from legends like you?
Well, I had an opportunity earlier to spend some time with the kids this week, and like John said, I mean, John was a ball boy. I mean, you take a look at some of these young talents, and for them to have the opportunity to see some of the best players in the world, obviously here in Toronto with the women and the men in Montreal, it does something to a youngster. I think it's one thing, I think you guys would agree with me, if you watch tennis on TV, it's one thing. If you watch it in person, would you not agree with me? It's completely different. You probably have an appreciation of the pace, the spin, the speed, the power, and I think these kids, when they're able to see that up close, it inspires them, and certainly we're in a position to be able to inspire them and encourage them and support them, and sometimes it just takes one little word or one smile or one encouraging word to really make a difference, and when you have the opportunity to do that, you try to take advantage of it.
Jim, I spoke to a sports reporter. I'm going to change gears a little bit here, and you get involved in this, John, if you'd like. And the reporter said to me the other day, well, what happened to all the cowboys on the circuit? Everyone's just a goody two-shoes now. Where's the John McEnroes? Where's the Ivan Isevich and the Eli Nastasis and the Jimmy Connors, guys who are not afraid to go offside and yell and take issue with the umpires or the lines people?
That's the challenge system.
Yeah, Hawkeye.
No one to yell at.
Can't yell at a computer. It's
Yeah.
tough.
But in terms of personalities, you don't really see the big personalities of a McEnroe or an Agassi. I mean, where are they?
Well, it's interesting. I think that First of all, we're also exposed a lot now. We have the tennis channel in the U.S. I think you guys probably have a lot of tennis coverage up here too. So you see a lot of different players, but not necessarily. Don't necessarily see the focus of these players from an attitude standpoint of trying to give more than they've got to commit so much energy, I think, to what they're doing on the court. The game is so physical now. I think that if you do dig beneath the surface, there are a lot of great personalities there. Andrea Petkovic, who's here this week, is fantastic on Twitter, and the things that she does with social media and the things that she does off the court to communicate with the fans.
She did a little dance.
Is really special. Yeah, she does her dance. I mean, it's there, but you have to kind of look for it. I mean, look. The rearview mirror always makes things look better. We all look better in the rearview, and I guarantee you when Serena Williams is gone and you look back on what she's brought to the sport from her personality, her fierceness, her game, and her comebacks from various issues, you're going to go back and you go, wow, those were the good old days. Well, guess what? That's right now. So, there's we have a lot of nostalgia. That's probably why we're here this week for the past. And it's a human condition, but I don't think it's fair to say that necessarily there's not a lot of personality, but let's give credit where credit's due. I mean, John is a pretty unique individual, and he's got a pretty great way of being able to
laugh when you said that, John? What is that?
He's just got this incredible ability to tell someone off, but not get penalized for it. Like he's got creativity, like calling someone the pits of the world. You can't penalize them for that. I
get a bonus for that.
How did you think of that? Like, did your dad give you a list of things that you could say? He's a lawyer. It's like, here's what you can say.
The most
and
famous
get away
one,
with
of course, you cannot be serious. Is the one
I only said that
you
once.
Trademark that.
I've only said that once. I did trademark it, by the way. Patent. But I've said it once, and if one day goes by where I don't hear that, there's something weird happening.
But do people ever say to you, where are all the cowboys or the so-called, outspoken people?
Well, it's a little bit like, I think Jim is somewhat accurate in what he was saying, but I do think...
Somewhat?
Somewhat. You're always somewhat correct. I think that we're on a real uptick, and particularly the men's game. I think there's a real exciting time in the sport. I think that things are looking promising. Obviously, in America, we're always saying, okay, we won champions. You see every one of these guys won a lot of slams, and Sampras won all those, so we go, where's the next guy? But I think that we're not done by any means, and I think that things are cyclical, and I think we're going to find ways to make, if it turns out that the best players in the world aren't from America, it's our job to get the people to know them better. I watched the baseball, I watched the NBA, there's a lot of foreigners in those sports, and they seem to be doing pretty well. And I think there's going to be someone coming along real soon, and that is going to excite the game even more. And I think that as far as Serena Williams, she's going to end up going down and being the greatest female player ever. I think she's going to a number of majors, and we need to take advantage of that right now in America and get the buzz back. So no one said it was going to be easy, but I think it's a pretty exciting time in the men's game, and it has become more physical, so we have to go searching for better and better athletes.
Andre, you are one of very few players, I think maybe 3 players in the world have ever done this. 2 men and 1 woman have done it. It's called the Golden Grand Slam, where you win Grand Slam tennis plus an Olympic gold medal. Nadal's done it, you've done it, and your wife, Steffi Graf, did it. And so...
There she is, on the side of the building.
So, are your kids predisposed to championship tennis?
Well, listen, I've been asked quite often, are your kids going to ever play tennis? Are they going to? They got to be gifted at tennis, and I'm saying it's a pretty big gene pool, and you haven't met the rest of my family, so it's not quite as simple as just that. I mean, there's a lot of intensity that goes into accomplishment. Certainly, to be up here on this stage now, you have to be born with something, but it also has to be nurtured. It has to be nurtured in a real powerful kind of way. And for our children, and I think you'll see it in tennis, you don't see too many second-generation tennis champions. They
tend to dig in their heels. I don't want to do what Dad did. Is
well,
that what you
I
mean,
think more than that, I think it's hard to deny, even though there's been times that we have really enjoyed what we've done out there on the court, it's hard to deny the toll that it takes on you physically, emotionally. I think it's one of the loneliest sports that you ever see. I mean, so I think there's just something that you don't want for your children in the sport of tennis when you've lived it at the level that we've